This is an attempt from my part to translate to you some of the information, some of the inputs, and some of my feelings as I was having the honor of studying with and being of my own master, Shidoshi Thiago Moraes. Shidoshi Thiago flew from Spain. It has been 2 days that he is here hosted in my house. And this has been a process of specializing in some of some deep corners of Bugei, and giving us the honor and the condition to put all our efforts towards a full succession. Therefore, what we have studied today, I'd like to share with you. When I was young, pretty much younger than today, I heard once from him the explanation of time, the studies of time in Bugei. And what I heard was just a brief, just a spark, just a pebble of information at that time. And also that, it was no time for that. Time is studied after very high graduations, not because of the graduations themselves, but because of the clarity of mind that one can have in order to speak the same language of that kind of subject, of that kind of knowledge. Well, today we had a great lesson and a great conversation and a great study towards time. Studying time goes much beyond the usual instances of sen-no-sen, go-no-sen, ayuchi, and labeling your motion in your technique and calling that time. That is surely a great first step, but what we have to have in our mind during this kind of study is that it comes to a level that is so high and so interesting that many times someone attacks you quickly, he is certain of his attack, and during his path, during his motion, he has a certain mind reference, he has a mindset of his time and of how fast he can be. And during his frames, inside his mind, suddenly he moves. And he moves shortly. However, the kind of fitting that he has as he moves, disassembles the whole idea that one had, the whole intention. So, if we go to the first one-to-one time studies, that is, he attacks and I attack at the same time as we see in the first Sukuri, the first Seite Gata. Say I'm here, and he cuts and I cut. This is a one-to-one time, and because we strike together, this is called Ayuchi. We can also go to this sen-no-sen instance in which he will come to attack, but before he comes to attack, I have moved first, in first place. And this is called sen-no-sen. And lastly, we can go to the go-no-sen, in which he comes and attacks. And after he movements, I move. So this is the go-no-sen study. Well, what we have talked today is completely different from all of that. So, for us to go deeper in this study, we have to detach ourselves from winning or losing, life or death. That is, learning how to move between his time frames and, mixing with his intention, and therefore not being touched inside by him. So let's say, you come fast, you won't stop, you cut through the fast as you can. Okay? One more time. the idea is that instead of measuring his time, now slowly, he'll come slowly. I'm measuring, then I will try to reach him before. No. Empathy with his spirit, let's say, in the lack of a better word. Empathy with his intention. Allowing his intention to come and not attempting to refrain or to stop or to overrule his intention. That is, between his movements, I barely move. You'll come in a normal time, a normal beat, okay? And you'll try to cut through it. One more time. But he will not look to my sword or to me. So he'll try to cut me as an ending to this situation. I won't move, so he will from there cut me again. I won't move. Okay, this is it. So let's see now a small difference. If I try sen no sen and he cuts, his leg is here already, but this is still rough. This is still just an initial kind of study. Now, if he comes and I barely allow him to move as he wishes. So you may be wondering what was applied, what happened when Shidoshi Thiago was showing technique, was applying technique on me. Well, what happened at that time was that, first of all, we set a odd situation. Understanding an odd situation is just like that. He comes very slowly, it's a technique. 1, 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps. In the 5th, he comes to cut me. So an odd situation is something like that. It's a square kind of approach and way of measuring. So he comes, I come. He comes, I come. He comes, I cut. This is a situation, an action from me that happens in an even situation. Now, the odd action comes when, for example, he came, first step. Then as he moves, his next step I'm entering. As he moves, I'm entering. So this is odd. It means we are acting in between his frame set. Now, when we mix both these things, what we have is a even action inside a odd situation. That is something like that. Or something like that. Or maybe something in which his hips already came, so he can't stop his movement. His shoulders and his intention is still high. But inside his mind, he already got the whole movement done. In this brief space, we act.